Hello, Dr. Kaylee Simmerman here, pelvic floor physical therapist, owner, founder of Fem Empowerment and Advocacy and Online Academy Business Coaching, and super excited to come on and talk about one of the things that I think is the most important thing when it comes to starting a business, but also being able to maintain, manage, or sustain the business. I've actually found personal preference, but also just kind of recognizing life in and of itself that it's not the hard part to start the business. The hard part is to sustain the business and to continue finding motivation and continue finding that drive and that want and that desire to keep going. And that seems to be the hardest part about all of this, right? So today we're going to talk about that very first step. This is something that I tell people you have to have this before you even come up with a name, before you come up with a logo. And yes, I 100% understand that is my opinion. Take it or leave it. I've got a pretty successful business from doing it this way, but it's just really important to recognize it. Now, the one thing that I want to talk about today is really figuring out what your why is. When I say why, I mean why on like a broad like spectrum, right? Like I want to know what your why is on why you want to start a business. What is your why on what the purpose of that business is going to be? What's the impact of that business going to be? And then why long term? Like what is your end game with having this why and this projection or this feeling or this desire to have a business? Because again, if you don't have your why, what do you think is going to keep you going when you're feeling like down in the dumps, or when you hit rock bottom, or when you have no profit, or when things get really tough? And I've been in all of those situations. And the one thing that brought me out of those situations was my why. So I think that it's really important for you to spend some time reflecting on that. So, I want you to actually take out a journal or just something to take notes on real quick because I want you to reflect on that. And I want you to spend some time considering all of those questions that I mentioned before. Why is this important to you? Why do you want to start a business? What is your why in game? What is that for you? And I think that it's important to kind of give you the example of mine and myself. So, for instance, my why on starting a business was mainly because I was unfulfilled. A lot of people will think that that's selfish, but my why for starting the business was I wanted financial and time freedom. I worked my ass off to get my doctorate degree. I deserved that at least. I deserved to have the opportunity to at least get to the point where I could work when I wanted to work and I could do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And so it's really, really important that you really think about that why behind before even starting. Because when you do start that business, you want to make sure that you remember that why. Like, what is the purpose of starting in the first place? So that is that why on why I chose to start a business. My why, as far as my purpose of the business, who it's impacting, is just that. I want to allow people to feel comfortable talking about pelvic floor dysfunction. That's for my pelvic PT business. I want them to feel safe doing so, unlike I felt. So, when I was struggling with pelvic floor therapy issues, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't feel safe talking about them. I didn't feel like I could be open about it. I didn't feel like you could even have a conversation about it. So that was really frustrating. And I don't want people to feel super ashamed about what they're going through. I also don't want them to feel guilty about it. And so that's something that I strive every single day to take away or to improve, is to allow that opportunity in that safe space to, hey, you don't have to feel shame and guilt about pelvic floor dysfunction. And my why, my purpose of my impact and things like that for coaching side is any clinician out there, physical therapist who wants to specialize in pelvic floor PT, you can have it all. You can treat one-on-one, you can do 90-minute sessions, you can do 75-minute sessions, you can do 2-hour sessions. You can have it all while still being able to support yourself and your family. We do not have to accept. Side note, I still am all on all of those job opportunity things where they send you these job things from the recruiters that you signed up for, like way back in PT school. And I got one today that said that, oh my gosh, this is a great offer, $35 an hour. And I was like, really? $35 an hour for 30 hours a week until I'm 65? That sounds terrible. So, my purpose and my impact here with clinicians is to help you understand that you can do what you love to do every single day and make profit on it and pay your bills and pay off your student loans and purchase the house, purchase the car, do all the things that you want to do. We can work through all of the money mindset. We can get you to the point where you feel confident. And the underlying why behind all of it put together, right, is any client that comes into my business deserves to know that there is an opportunity for them to reach that best life that they're searching for. And that's what gets me so excited. So, a piece of advice is when you're trying to think through these questions, or you're trying to decide on your why, what gets you fired up? What makes you excited, or what makes you tick? What are those things that people talk about, or you hear said, or you see on social media that just like either makes you super angry? Why does that make you angry? Or it gets you super pumped up, like, yeah, I want to talk about this too. And why does that happen? And it's always going to come back to your story. We can't be afraid to be transparent and vulnerable with who we are within our business. Your business is just an extension of yourself. You are not separate from your business. I do not believe in practicing that way. I don't think that when I come home at night, I'm somebody different than who I showed up with clients during the day. If you've worked with me, you know that that's true. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm here to tell you what's going on in my life. You're going to get the same me here as you would if you met me in person. And I think that that's a very important thing for those of us who are in the business world, because there are so many people who will fake it till you make it situation. I also like to remind people I'm not someone to talk to or ask questions to if you're here just for finances or just for financial gain. I 100% love money, made a lot of it in the past few years. But the only thing that I have to say about that is you have to have a good relationship with it, and it has to be based on impact, not self gain. Your profit will follow your passion, not vice versa. You don't have a passion that will follow profit. That doesn't work that way. It's opposite, right? So you have a passion, you have your why. What is it that gets you fired up? And then you will be able to make money on that by sharing your personal story, sharing your experiences, getting out in front of people. We're going to be talking about all of these things, but being able to expose that passion and that why to everyone. So I hope that helps. Spend some time with that. Ignore Belle, my dog. She's going nuts. Spend some time with that. Feel free to put it in the comments below, or even reach out to me privately and let me know, because I'd love to know your why. And I'd love to just hear all of these wonderful businesses coming about. But I hope you have a fabulous Wednesday.